Hey Colts fans, I'm JJ Stankevitz and welcome into another episode of the Colts Show, an Indianapolis Colts podcast. We are presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC. Awesome episode coming up today. We're obviously coming to you on Tuesday. Now that's a bit of a change. We got the Jack Doyle podcast moving to Thursday. By the way, you're not going to want to miss that one this week because Jack is sitting down with Tyler Warren. Really excited for that interview. Two great tight ends talking to each other. But yeah, like I said, awesome episode today. I had a chance to sit down with center Tanor Bortolini, who I think we need to have a conversation about how good he's playing. Like, the stuff he's doing in the run game has been awesome. I asked Jonathan Taylor after the game Sunday, where obviously we all saw what JT did, about Bortolini, and he was like, the stuff that Tanner is able to do, getting to the second level in space, JT was like, it makes my job easy. Where he's like, it's easy for me to set up my blocks when you got a guy like Tanner who can do that. If we're talking about Jonathan Taylor making things easy on him, good luck for defenses. I don't know what you do at this point if you're a defense. Like, you can take as good of an angle as you want if you're a safety. And I wrote this in my my post-game article on Colts.com. It's like those two poor Titans safeties on that 80-yard touchdown look like 5-year-olds trying to hit a Nolan Ryan fastball. I mean, it's like the stuff that Taylor's doing is insane. And if we're making it easier on him again, which that's what he said Tanner Bortolini is doing, and the tape does not lie, Tanner Bortolini has been making it easy for Jonathan Taylor. He's also been doing some really good things in the pass protection game. He pulled on a play in pass protection for the first time this year against the Titans. So he snaps the ball, and he pulls from left to right. Tyler Warren chips Draymond Jones and then releases into the flat kind of across the formation. Bortolini gets there. He blocks Draymond Jones. Linebacker Cody Barton, who I think was supposed to have Warren in coverage, completely loses 84. You got Josh Downs doing like orbit motion. Then all of a sudden you got 60 showing up here. What's the center doing outside of Braden Smith's right shoulder? This is weird. I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, Tyler Warren pops wide open for a first down. Daniel Jones is able to hit him. Just like little things like that when you turn the tape on with Bortolini. His reach blocks have been awesome this year. He is playing at a level that if this continues, Quenton Nelson should not be the only Pro Bowler on this offensive line. Let me just say that. And honestly, you can make a case that beyond potentially Nelson and Bortolini, there are some other Pro Bowlers on this line. But right now, really excited to share this conversation I had with Tanner Bortolini. We got into Tony Sparano Jr., what Bort has learned from Quenton Nelson, some other good stuff about football, and then some really interesting stuff about how he got recruited to Wisconsin, his home state team. We're going to get to my chat with Tanner Bortolini here on the Colts Show right after these messages. The Colts Show is presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC, where every day is game day. Greatness in the NFL starts long before kickoff. It's built in the quiet hours of preparation and the discipline to turn insights into action. The Indianapolis Colts rely on Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PCs to turn preparation into performance. With real-time AI-powered insights right on the sideline, coaches and players can make smarter, faster decisions when it matters most. From the field to the front office, Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PCs are transforming how the Indianapolis Colts prepare, strategize, and win. This isn't just about football. It's about unlocking potential wherever the game is played. Can't make it to Berlin? Join us at the Rathskeller for the official Berlin game watch party presented by Bud Light. Doors open at 8:30 a.m. before the 9:30 a.m. kickoff. Enjoy the atmosphere, grab a Bud Light, and cheer on the Colts against the Falcons with fellow fans. It is my pleasure to be welcomed here on the Colts Show by center Tanner Bortolini. Tanner, how's it going, man?
Doing well, yourself?
Good. Good to have you on the pod here.
Appreciate you having me on.
How's the season felt for you so far?
It's been a blast. I think being a part of this team, it's been a lot of fun. These first few weeks, kind of getting the rhythm. A lot of new guys playing new spots. So as an offense, getting in that rhythm, I think we're finally starting to really click on every drive, and it's been really a lot of fun to play.
For you and Matt to step in at center and right guard this year. How smooth has that transition been, and what have been who have been the guys who have helped out the most with that transition?
I think it's gone really well. I mean, obviously, those are big shoes to fill with Ryan and Will leaving. But I think everyone in our room, Tony, Q, Braden, Bernie, Danny, they're all guys that have really helped me and Matt kind of figure out what we got to do, build that confidence, build that kind of synergy with the other guys where I feel like at this point they were really clicking, really playing well as a group. And again, the standard for our group is to be the best in the NFL. So when those guys left, the standard doesn't change. We have to step up and rise to the occasion. So I think me and Matt have done a good job, and obviously there's things we can improve, but those guys will help us get there.
What is Coach Sparano like as a coach, as a person who deeply cares about you and your success?
He's great. Definitely one of the best coaches I've had in my life, and it's really great to come in and work with him. I think he understands that not every player is the same, and that Q is going to be better at different things than I'm better than Kim at, and Bernie and Matt and Braden. So it's different, for every player, and I think he understands that, it's not a one-size-fits-all in O-line play. So he does a really good job at kind of coaching you on your specific style, being versatile in that, and putting us in good spots to be successful, and just kind of explaining things and always making sure that no matter what, it makes sense to you. And if it doesn't make sense, he'll find a way to make it make sense.
What was he like last year? Where, you did play a little bit last year, but for the most part, you're kind of behind Ryan there. But something he's talked a lot about is how if you're in that room, you're in there for a reason, and I'm going to coach you and get you ready to play. As a young guy coming in, what did that mean to you last year?
It was huge, and I don't know if it's like that everywhere. I can't say. It was the only place I've been, and it's been really great to be here. But he does a great job of making sure everyone in that room, top to bottom, whether you're the bottom guy in practice squad or the starting left guard, that he's preparing you the same way. He expects you to prepare. He's coaching you up the same way. He'll go through all those guys' scout reps throughout the weeks and tell them, hey, here's what I think you're doing well. Here's what I think you need to improve on. And so just kind of having that, it was awesome because every week I was finding things to get better on scout team. And then once you finally get that chance to go out there and play with the guys, that you're ready for that moment, you're ready to put your best foot forward. And again, just a really great coach in that aspect.
When you got here, I'm curious, what did you pick up from Quenton Nelson, just kind of in those first couple of months that you were here?
He's a very big on technique. And I think, in college you're able to get away with things that in the NFL you can't. You're not blocking guys like Buck, where he'll get you if you're playing with bad technique. You're more athletic. You're probably a little better than some of those guys. So you're able to get away with some things that you're not able to get away with at this level. And Q is a very, very good technician. And just seeing what he does and how much attention to detail he has on everything that he does on every block. And it really makes him a great player. And I think it's one of the things that, elevates his play on the field. And he'll coach you up on it in the room. He'll tell you, hey, I think you need to do this better. I think this is what I'm seeing, and if I was you, I'd work on this. And obviously coming from a guy that stature, you're going to listen. You're going to take those words for what they are. And I think just taking what he says, learning from it, growing, it's been huge, and he's been a really great mentor.
So as I was preparing to have you on the pod, I was looking at kind of just some cut-ups of your film that I can access on Pro Football Focus. What is the key to a good block at the second level in space?
It's hard because obviously those guys are going to be more athletic than you. So I think we just make a really big emphasis on having tight hands. If you wrap your hands, give them your chest, those little guys can get in there. They can really pack a punch, and that's what you'll learn. So being a young guy, you watch, Q get on the second level, and you're like, okay, how is he knocking that guy so far back? And you just watch his hands, his placement, where he's putting his hat, how he's driving the guy. He does a really good job of it. And again, it's just learning from those older guys who've been doing it at a high level for a long time. But really just kind of focusing on those small little things.
I think my favorite one that I watched was the last run of the Arizona game where you and Gons kind of comboed. You get off, you climb to the second level, you take the guy out, and that opens up the lane for JT. Do you have a favorite block you've had this year? Is that even something that enters an offensive lineman's mind?
I mean, I think you have plenty of favorite blocks throughout the year, but I think the best part for me, at least, is that we have JT, so it feels like we have 2 or 3 of those every game. We're like, that's got to be my favorite of the year. You watch him break one, you have a good block, and you're like, oh my God, there goes JT. We had a couple even playing Tennessee last time where, JT, just being JT does this thing, and you're like, that's incredible. And you had a solid block, but just having that guy behind you, it makes all your blocks look good.
Did you get lore, JT lore at Wisconsin?
100%. When I got there, they told me damn, that JT, he was really good. I don't think you understand how good he was. And I was like, okay, guys, what, how good could he have been? He's that good. He is truly that good of a player. Those guys were not overhyping it at all. He really is the difference maker. And just his ability to make guys miss has been showcased throughout this year. If we can get him on the second level, he does what he does.
Something Bernie said after the Chargers game is that no matter what the defense does, they're wrong. How they're attacking you guys because of JT. What is that like as an offensive lineman to be yeah, I'm going to go execute my assignment, But even if like maybe one thing is off on this play, he's still going to make this thing work because he's Jonathan Taylor.
No, 100%. And they call it the JT effect. This is what the older guys were telling me at Wisconsin. The JT effect is that you could always account for JT to get the first mistake right. And like JT's going to make you right on one. So if you can get him to the second level or something like that, JT's going to make you right. And so we're not always perfect on our blocking assignments. I mean, it's 11 on 11. It's a they get paid too, so we're not going to be perfect. But having a guy like we're back there like that, he really does factor in that. It makes it really hard on the defense to be right.
I was talking. This was a conversation I was having with Tony because you bring up you're not going to be perfect. Mm-hmm. Like it's impossible. In like baseball, no one throws perfect games, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's hard to be perfect on 60, 70 snaps. How have you learned to move on from like the one that you didn't get during the game?
I think it's something that took a little time. Obviously everyone wants to throw a perfect game.
Right.
But this is the NFL, and I think the thing you're going to realize is like even the best players get beat. You're watching tape and you see guys like Quenton Nelson get beat, and you're like, okay, like if he gets beat, it's okay for me to get beat every once in a while.
Yeah.
I think just knowing that, they're going to get theirs, you're going to get yours. It's kind of how this league works, and as a young guy, you're going to get yours maybe a little more than those older guys, mm-hmm. But it's been a good experience, and I think just learning that, it's one play, but whatever you do in the next play, it doesn't matter what happened in the last one, just on to the next, and kind of having the next play mentality.
So I want to go back to Wisconsin real quick. So you were a Badger fan growing up, right?
Yep.
So did you watch games and like see JT that like what was that 2019 season he had where he just like went nuclear on the Big Ten?
100%. I was like, this guy's electric, and just watching those Wisconsin teams run the ball the way they did.
Yeah.
It was something special. It's something you always aspired, and I think it's cool. We didn't get to do that same level at Wisconsin, but we were able to do it, here with JT, which mm-hmm. was pretty awesome.
You grew up in Kewaunee, Wisconsin?
Yep.
I saw this. This was fun. It's in the Packerland Conference.
Yes, that's correct.
I love that. That's one of the most Wisconsin things I've ever read is that you're in the Packerland mm-hmm. Conference. What was the step up in competition from high school to college? Because I read your high school also had, 80 people in your graduating class?
Yeah, it was 80 in my graduating class, so the jump was huge.
So there were more people on the Wisconsin football team than were in your graduating class.
Yeah, now that I think about it, that's crazy to look back and say. But no, first off, it was a great experience there. I think the best part about a small school is, you get a couple things. One, you get to play every sport.
Yeah.
And I think that builds versatility, and you just kind of know everybody. So, like, now that I'm here, I have the whole support of my hometown, and that's been huge. People, 20, 30 people come to games.
To Colts games?
To Colts games, and it's awesome. Like, they're that supportive, they're that proud, and it means a lot to me. But the jump was huge. I mean, we're playing against guys that are, 5'3", 5'4". I'm 6'4", 270 pounds in high school, so it's not too bad. You get to college, now everybody's the best player, on their team. Everybody's huge. Like, I'm like one of the smallest guys we had in our room. I remember like one of my first practices, it was like a cutoff block. And I was like, I always win this block, in high school. And I got smoked. Like Matt Henningsen, he got drafted by the Broncos way back when, but he beat me in the gap so bad. I'm like, wow, like that never happened in high school. Uh-huh. So the jump was pretty big. But over time, you kind of get used to it. Same thing here. The older guys there coach you up on what to do, mm-hmm. what they do. And it was a lot of fun, but definitely a change.
Okay, so going back, you said like 20 to 30 people from your hometown get down here for Colts games. Are they like RV caravanning down? They tailgating?
It depends. So they always hit the little pregame tailgate. I hear great reviews about it. I've never been,
Touchdown Town?
Touchdown, I think that's what it's called.
Uh-huh.
So
yeah.
they love that. I've heard a lot of really good things about it, but especially that Nashville trip, we had a really big crew come down awesome. To check it out. But again, they're incredibly supportive, and it's like I think something that you really appreciate is that they've been with me every step of the way. Wisconsin games was the mm-hmm. same way. We'd have 20, 30 people going, and to have that same support in Indy has been really awesome.
You're the third NFL player to come from Kewaunee.
Mm-hmm.
I read one of the last player to come out of your hometown has kind of been like a mentor to you.
Colin Kosher, yeah. So he was when I was younger, it was just crazy to look back because he came to the high school. I'm like, oh my gosh, that guy plays in the NFL. Like, how cool is this? And he talked to us about what it took for him to get there. And just kind of having talked to them in high school, I wanted to play tight end. Obviously, I think it worked out okay. But him and Jack Novak as well. Jack was a guy that helped coach our team in high school, and just a tremendous mentor. I'm kind of explaining what it took for him to get here. What it would take for me to get to this level. And again, being from a place like that, you never know how far you're going to get. Again, not a lot of guys do it. So to have those guys kind of paving the way and helping me along the way was really big, really critical.
Do you feel like you have you want to represent your hometown well when you go out there and play on Sundays? Is that like a motivating factor for you?
Absolutely. I think it's, you always want them to be proud. And, those coaches you had all along the way, they all played a big part in your development. You want them to be able to, point out to their kids, their grandkids that, hey, I coached that guy, and look what he's doing now. And that, if you put the work, the time in, that you guys can do this. And I think that's the big thing, the big message I want to send. But I really want them to be proud of what I'm doing. And I think, that's why I come in every day, put my best foot forward.
So I also read that during your recruiting process, you went to a camp at Wisconsin, and you were like 240 pounds. And they told you, like, we're not going to take a 240-pound, lineman. But then the next time you showed up there, you were like 275.
So, yeah. So what ended up happening was, like, I wasn't getting recruited much when I was a sophomore just because, we're small school, small ball. So I went to Wisconsin camp, went fine, didn't really talk much, but I went to the Iowa one the next weekend, and I was, again, 240 at the time, But I did pretty well. I had a couple reps against one of their commits that, like, I beat them on, like, a drive block. So afterwards, they're like, hey, we want to take you around, show you around. And I was like, oh, my gosh, this is unreal. You're looking at their facilities like, wow, like this is, the big stage. But they're like, hey, there's no Big Ten linemen that play at 240 pounds. So we're going to come back, see you in 6 months. And when we see you, want to make sure you put on some weight. So really locked in over the next couple months, went up like 30 pounds over the course of 6 months, eating like crazy, lifting like crazy. But just wanted to show that I was really committed to doing it, and that I could be that guy for him.
So like cheese curds and brats? I mean, what's your diet there?
No, I wish. That was like, I was eating good. Obviously, being from Wisconsin, that's a staple food. So maybe on the weekends, I can't say I was completely avoiding them because that'd be a lie. But no, I was just really pounding calories, a lot of protein shakes. My dad would make me two sandwiches after hot lunch. He'd have hot lunch, go through the line, and then like I'd have a lunch box with the 2 sandwiches, and they were like, you probably never seen my dad make a sandwich, which why would you? But they're like probably a half a pound of meat on each. So I'd sit there for like an hour and just have study hall after and just trying to graze through those. But it was a grind. But again, my parents were really helpful in all that, making sure that they were helping me do whatever it took to get where I wanted to be. If I had to get in the weight room, they were there to let me in. If I needed extra meals, they were making them, and really critical to get me getting here.
That's awesome. You also were recruited by Columbia, Yale, and Princeton.
Harvard. That was cool.
So you and JT have something in common. You were both recruited by a bunch of Ivy League schools.
I know. It was cool. I told him I could have been like him. I chose not to. I could have been a Harvard guy, so I don't know the Harvard-Princeton comparison, but I do know Harvard's pretty prestigious as well. So is Yale. But that just, as great as they are, wasn't for me. I'm more of a Wisconsin guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing once that Wisconsin offer came in, you were just like, this is a slam dunk.
Absolutely. I think it's one of those things that, like, you're just, you grew up watching it as a kid. And on top of that, I just felt like I meshed great with the players there, the coaches there, and that it was going to be a great fit for me. And it's like, how can you not love Wisconsin? So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Chicago. I love going up to Wisconsin. It's one of my favorite states in the U.S. What's your favorite part of Wisconsin?
I love our area. I mean,
you're like right on the lake, right?
I'm right on the lake. So we're probably like, my house is probably like 8 minutes from the lake. So it's that Kewaunee County area, super small, super rural, a lot of fishing. They'll do a lot of charters, which in the summer is great. You can get up to Door County. That Door County area is very nice, very touristy. But again, the whole place is great. And just the weather, when you're in the summers up there, that's my kind of weather. It's not too hot. It's probably like 70s, 80s.
It's offensive lineman weather.
Exactly. That's hot for me. I talked to some of our guys, and they're from Miami, and it's like, man, it's freezing today. I'm like, it's beautiful. It's 40 degrees. Like, I couldn't ask for a better day. But no, I think that area up there is just beautiful, and something I'll always cherish. I
guess the last thing for you here, now that you're in Indy, what's your favorite part about being in Indianapolis, this area of the country?
There's a lot of things I love about Indy. I think, one, it's very similar to Wisconsin. I think the people here are great, which is huge. I mean, you go up in that area, everyone's super nice. I get here and it's the same thing, and you never know how it's going. This is like the biggest place I've ever been by far. Going from Kewaunee to Madison was a big jump. Madison to here was huge. But the people here are great. You kind of go around, meet people at different places. Super friendly, super nice. There's plenty to do here. And it's big without being huge, if that makes sense. I think Indy doesn't feel like Chicago in like that it's super big, a lot going on. Like, I feel like you can get to any part of Indy relatively easy.
As a Chicago native, the no traffic thing
exactly.
is like,
it doesn't
it's
feel
my
like,
favorite part of it.
like even if there is traffic, it's never really
not
that bad.
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes. It's like, okay. But I love it. It feels like a happy combination of a big city in the Midwest.
Awesome. All right, we'll let you get out of there on that. From Wisconsin, center number 60, Tanor Bortolini. Thanks for being my guest here, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, back here on the Colts Show, it's time for the Colts Show Mailbag presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC. Achieving greatness with real-time AI insights from the field to the front office, Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PCs are transforming how the Indianapolis Colts win. Remember, get involved with the podcast. You can submit your questions to me at Colts.com/mailbag. You can tag me, DM me on social media, on X, on Instagram, or you can drop a question right here in the YouTube comments of this episode. Today's question comes from Matt Stuthers from Pine, Arizona. I believe a repeat submitter to the mailbag. Matt asks, as we approach the second half of the schedule, there are going to be some tough defenses. What reasons do we have to believe that the Colts will be able to maintain their offensive output? So, I mean, obviously the Colts are killing it on offense this year. Like, the points are just falling out of these games. 6 of 8 games, the Colts have scored at least 30. In 7 of 8, they've scored 29 or more. It's remarkable what this offense is doing. It really is. The defenses are going to get tougher, though. They absolutely are. So if you look at points per game, just kind of a general ballpark of what we're working with here. Interestingly, actually, the Pittsburgh Steelers by points per game have they're allowing the most points per game of any of the Colts' remaining opponents. They are 22nd in the NFL, allowing 25 points per game. So coming into this game on Sunday in Pittsburgh, if you watched any of that Sunday night game last weekend where Jordan Love completed 20 straight passes, Tucker Kraft went off. If you're dreaming about Tyler Warren having a big game in Pittsburgh, maybe your dreams will become reality. We'll see. Then moving on to the Atlanta Falcons in Berlin. They are 13th, averaging 22 points per game allowed. After the bye, the Kansas City Chiefs are allowing 17.7 points per game. That's pending Monday Night Football. That's third in the NFL, again, before they play the Commanders on Monday night. The Houston Texans are number 1 in the NFL. They are allowing 14.7 points per game. That is, of course, going to be tough. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 15th. They are allowing 22.1 points per game. The Seattle Seahawks are 7th at 19.4. And the San Francisco 49ers are 8th at 20.5 points per game allowed. But the Colts have already played some good defenses. The Denver Broncos are a really, really good defense. I think they're second in the NFL right now, or they're at least they're top 5 in the NFL in points per game allowed at 18.9. The Colts put up 29. And the stat that I love going to about the Broncos, so they're on pace to break the 1984 Chicago Bears sack record, which is 72 sacks in a season. The Broncos are on pace this year for 76.5 sacks. If they were to break the record, they will do so getting 1 sack against the Colts in week 2. 1 sack. That is remarkable. And like Daniel Jones this year, I'm thinking about the floor of this offense. It is set really high because Daniel Jones this year is averaging per game. He's getting this is sacks plus interceptions plus fumbles. So we're talking about like the drive killing plays, whether you're giving the ball to the other team or you're inevitably going to give the ball to the other team because you're punting after a sack. Daniel Jones is averaging 1.75 sacks plus interceptions plus fumbles per game. With the Giants, it was over 4. So the floor for this Colts offense is really high. And then the other part about this that I just want to bring up is, yes, the Colts are going to face some tougher defenses. But every single one of these defenses is, if you're tuning in to the Texans show or whatever podcast they have, they might be saying, we got to play the Colts twice. That 14.7 points per game number is going to be really hard to keep up against the Colts, who are scoring over 30 points a game. Like, I think we need to, it's weird because like 2 months ago, I'm sure a lot of people watching this, listening to this, didn't expect this. I would be lying if I said I expected the Colts to have the number 1 offense in the NFL and be 7-1 through week 8. But I think we have to flip our thinking a little bit. It's halfway through the season. The Colts have the best record in the NFL and the best offense in the NFL, and it looks absolutely sustainable. It looks like there's nothing gimmicky or fake about it. This is just a real offense. It is a ruthlessly efficient offense. So the point is, I think we need to think about the Colts offense in a way that this is a challenge for everyone else. It's not, how is this Colts team going to stack up against, the Chiefs? It's, no, how's this Colts team going to stack up against the Chiefs? How's this Colts team going to stack up against the Texans defense? How's it going to stack up against the Niners or the Seahawks? It's a confidence thing. And I think everyone back there in the Colts locker room, among the Colts coaching staff, feels that this offense is really good. They know that. We know that. And yeah, let's just flip our thinking a little bit. There are challenges, certainly. It's going to be tougher sledding for this offense, but it's not like it's going to be impossible. It's not like you're sitting here thinking like, man, there is no way the Colts can beat any of these defenses that are top 10 in the NFL. So we'll see. I mean, the Cardinals came into Lucas Oil Stadium in Week 6 with the 4th-ranked scoring defense. They're now out of the top 10 in part because they played the Colts. The Chargers had a top 4 defense in the red zone coming into Week 7. They're now, I think, outside of the top 10 because they played the Colts. So just, think about it that way. All right, again, great question there from Matt Stuthers from Pine, Arizona. Get involved with the podcast. Send me your questions at Colts.com/mailbag, on Twitter or X or Instagram, or in the YouTube comments of this episode. All right, one last thing I want to talk about here before we get out of here is this thing has been just kind of like noodling around my brain for a while. And it's the guys who are around Daniel Jones on the Colts offense. The number 1 offense in the NFL. So when Daniel Jones has been on the field, the other 10 guys have played a combined 4,800 snaps. So that's running backs, offensive line, wide receivers, tight ends. Of those 4,800 snaps around Daniel Jones, how many of them do you think were by players who were not drafted or signed as an undrafted free agent by the Colts? Just think about that. How many of those 4,800 were by someone who did not begin their career and develop with the Colts? The answer is 26 of 4,800 snaps. That is 0.05%. Amir Abdullah has 20 snaps with the Colts on offense this year, and Tyler Goodson has 6. Goodson was an undrafted free agent with the Packers, joined the Colts practice squad in 2023. Amir Abdullah, longtime veteran, awesome dude. Had a really good chat with him, writing a story up on Colts.com about him this week. He's played 11 years in the league, and he signed with the Colts as a free agent in September. Other than that, every single player around Daniel Jones was someone who this front office, specifically this front office, brought in. Whether it was Mo Alley Cox as an undrafted free agent in 2017, or Quenton Nelson as a first-round pick in 2018, or, you go down the list, Anthony Gould even taking the snaps as a 5th-round pick, but Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, Adonai Mitchell, Tyler Warren, Drew Ogletree, Mo Alley Cox, Jonathan Taylor, the entire offensive line, Tanor Bortolini, who we just talked about with Matt Gonzalez, Quenton Nelson, Bernard Ryman, Braden Smith, even all the backups on the offensive line, your Dalton Tucker, Danny Pinter, Jalen Travis. These guys were all players who the Colts either drafted or signed as an undrafted free agent. And that means there's a cohesion there that I'm not sure exists outside of Indianapolis. Whether it's because teams have missed on a draft pick and they have to go fill that through free agency, or because a front office was let go and all of a sudden you now have a new front office coming in and, well, I didn't draft this guy. I mean, look at the Jaguars. There was that rumor from Diana Rossini over the weekend that they were listening to offers on Brian Thomas Jr. Maybe they probably won't trade him, but Brian Thomas Jr. has not been producing to the level he produced as a rookie when I think he was 4th in the NFL in receiving yards last year. And he's got a new coaching staff and a new front office there that didn't draft him. And sometimes those disconnects can happen even with really good players. The Colts don't have any of that. And you think about the pass catchers specifically is how I like looking at this. Chris Ballard drafted Michael Pittman Jr. in 2020, Alec Pierce in 22, Josh Downs in 23, A.D. Mitchell in 24, Tyler Warren in 25. And all those guys just fit together in a way that's really cool. And you didn't double up on skill sets with these guys. Like the closest would be maybe A.D. and Alec Pierce, but their skill sets are very different. It's just, both of them are very fast and they can run downfield. But there's no, and everyone fits so well. Like you need 7 yards on 3rd and 6, that ball's going to Josh Downs. You need a tough catch over the middle on a dig route, get that ball to Michael Pittman Jr. You need someone to catch and run people over, get that ball to Tyler Warren. You need it's 3rd and 17, and, forget it. Alex down there somewhere, you throw that ball to Alec Pierce. And all those guys can do different things. I mean, Michael Pittman Jr. showed his contested catch ability on the outside. Alec Pierce has done good stuff on drag routes, whatever. You don't need to hear that. The point is, this offense fits together so well because 99.5% of the snaps around the quarterback were by guys who the Colts have drafted or signed as a UDFA and then developed. That is remarkable. That is a testament to this front office, to the scouts on this team, to Chris Ballard, to Ed Dodds. It is a remarkable thing that the Colts have here, and I think it allows them to access so much more as an offense when you have that level of cohesion. I've written about this on Colts.com. I've thought about it a lot. It's just something I kind of wanted to get out there and talk about a little bit more, because to me, this is almost like this is the engine for this Colts offense. Daniel Jones is doing a fantastic job, and you drop him in there with what he has been able to get these guys into now this year, and all that stuff together in concert with a special running back in Jonathan Taylor, you've got the best offense in football. So again, if you're trying to figure out ways to talk about this, ways to think about this, again, out of 4,800 snaps, all but 26 were taken by players who are UDFAs or Colts draft picks. So really impressive stuff. Again, there, just something I was thinking about, something I wanted to get out here on the podcast. That is going to do it for this episode of the Colts Show. Coming up next week on the pod, I'm going to have a chance to sit down with Colts safety Cam Bynum. I'm really excited to share that chat next week before I go to Berlin. Man, that's coming up fast. I got to wrap my head around packing for Germany, but before that, of course, we got the Steelers coming up this weekend on Sunday. All right, again, that's going to do it for this episode of the Colts Show, which is presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC. Greatness in the NFL is built on preparation and quick decisions. That's why the Indianapolis Colts trust Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PCs, bringing real-time AI insights to the sideline so coaches and players can make smarter, faster decisions when it matters most. From the field to the front office, Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC is transforming how the Indianapolis Colts win. Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC, where every day is game day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching this episode of The Colts Show. We'll be back next week on Tuesday with another episode. Talk to you then. So long.